Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sports Breakdown once again. I'm so sorry for the delay of our post-match analysis of the third test between South Africa versus India. So yeah,
Hi
um,
everyone, welcome back to the Sports
sorry
Breakdown
guys,
once
I
again.
think I put my YouTube video on, but anyways, we brought in the Third Man Cricket Show and Cricketpedia. So we brought in Ronak. Who is the founder alongside Kaustubh. Unfortunately, he couldn't come today because he was a bit busy today, so unfortunately he couldn't come along. But we have Ronak here. Thank you so much for accepting the invite and coming along to this sports breakdown. And Omkar as well, who's a member also of the Third Man Cricket Show, and Mohit as well, who's a member of the Third Man Cricket Show and has an Instagram page called Cricketpedia. So please check that out as well. So thank you so much to all three of you for joining the sports breakdown to analyze this third test match between India versus South Africa.
Thank you for the invite, Pawan. It is a
Thank
pleasure
you for
and
having
looking
us.
forward.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Pawan. I'm
No
looking
worries, no
forward to it.
worries. Yeah, no worries. So I want to ask Ronak and the team on the introduction of the Third Man Cricket Show, and just tell a brief introduction of how you started this YouTube channel and how it grew so far. I mean, in the past few months, I think 8 to 9 months, I believe that you started during the IPL. But how the
Yeah.
YouTube channel grew and the idea of starting the Third Man Cricket Show, Ronak. Yeah.
So basically, the idea was whenever in India, basically, I'm not talking about the world cricket, but in India, we have a culture that whenever someone speaks on commentary channels or something like that, the concept is we say that he don't know how to speak. The batsman should have done this, the bowler should have done this, and he should have hit for this for four. So we had an idea ki if the audience wants to speak, they want to have a voice, then we should create a channel where they can come and share their opinion. So me and Kostub on 6th of April, just to make it sure that 8th of April the IPL was starting, and 6th of April in the evening we discussed about this. We have to do about this something, and we can do this that, and we discussed with our associate dean of our college, which is ISM, where we all study. Me, Omkar, Mohit, and 30 of us. So there we were, and in just a day's time we started this. We thought on 6th, and then we started on 8th, and it just happened, and now we are here after 8 months, a platform which we could say proudly that we represent. And Mohit has been the latest addition. Omkar has been always a core member of the group, but Mohit had been the latest addition, and a great addition, I mean, I say. So
Yeah.
I feel
That's great.
we are doing good as of now, and hoping to improve as we go along, and looking forward to more partnerships like the sports breakdown as well. So happy to be here.
Yeah, that's a good story to start off with. Actually, I mean, how please do subscribe to Third Man Cricket Show if you haven't yet, because they are amazing channel. They do mainly on India cricket, if I'm not mistaken, India cricket content only, but they do it really well. And I do attend to their live streams if possible when I have free time. I always join them. I think at 10 p.m. Live. I think you usually go live right at 10 p.m. right for each reviews. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
each day. Yeah. So without further ado, let's start on our discussion on the third test between India versus South Africa. And obviously, first we'll speak about the match summary and series review. So we know that South Africa did eventually win by 7 wickets, and they won this Freedom Trophy Test series against India. And India still unable to win a Test series in South Africa after 28 years. And Keegan Peterson, obviously the player of the match and player of the series. Ronak, what a find has South Africa found with Keegan Peterson, and obviously we have to speak about Marco Jansen as well. Those two extremely frustrated India throughout this series. So your thoughts, Ronak?
To start with Marco Jansen, I feel he was a great addition. Just for the fact that he was a left armer and South Africa decided to put him in, just for the fun aspect of it, that we have to bring him in because he's a left armer and Indians are not good with left armer. So that was the idea. Because I was baffled when Marco Jansen was played before Dwayne Oliver. It
Hmm.
was absolutely bizarre because Oliver was in a great form, before the series. But Marco Jansen was preferred just because he was a left armer and he could bowl fast. So I believe that was an experiment which worked in favor of South Africans. And as far as Keegan Peterson goes, I believe he has a very calm, composed demeanor about him. Seeing him somewhat reminds me of the great Hasim Amla, that he has the technique, the composer to back his legacy. So I believe Keegan Peterson is a player who frustrated us, who actually Keegan Peterson along with Dean Elgar. I must say that Dean Elgar is
Mm.
one of the best batters in the fourth inning, in the second test around the world cricket, not just for South Africa, for the world cricket. Though he looks very inconclusive, he looks very he has very flaws in techniques. But if
Mm.
you see in the last 3 to 4 years, Dean Elgar has been the most consistent batter when it comes to the fourth innings or say the last second innings for the team. So that has been a surprise factor alongside this to Keegan Peterson and Jonathan for me.
Yeah. Mohit, I want to ask you on Virat Kohli's decision to always bat first. I know usually India don't actually win tosses in test matches, and that's rare. But actually, the last two test matches that India won the toss, they batted first. They got all out time in less than 250, even if I'm not mistaken. So, your thoughts on Virat Kohli's tactics a bit when it comes to toss, and maybe whether he was taking the right decision first of all when winning the toss, because winning a toss is crucial, and especially India getting bowled out for 200, 210, 220 in the first innings isn't ideal. Speaking of, yeah.
I would start this with a stat that India have batted for 8 consecutive times in Test cricket batting first. So this is the record India have maintained for the first time in Test cricket history. Like we haven't batted for this long anywhere in our past. So yes,
Yeah.
this is an orthodox mindset. If you see Pavan, of batting
Yeah.
first, winning the toss and batting first, and putting a lot of runs, as it put a lot of pressure on the opposition mindset as well. Like if you put 400 500 plus runs in first innings, it is very much difficult for the second innings to for the team batting in second innings to start off with such low confidence of almost they are in a position like they can't win, and if they need to win they need to score 100 200 runs more than that. So that has been a scenario which Virat Kohli is following since a long time, and we have seen this doing this in 16 17 18 series a lot of times. Like we used to bat first, and we used to put a lot of runs in the first innings, and the match was over before third innings also. So yes, this has been a scenario, but again, we have batted first in this series also. We have been lucky enough to win the tosses, but again, as we know, our batters didn't work up to the mark, and this is the harsh truth that we need to look upon. And otherwise, winning all the tosses and batting first would have been a superb chance of winning our first series in South Africa.
Very, very valid points from Mohit over there. Let's go on to the pitch report and the weather conditions. So, Omkar, I want to ask you on this. Especially, we know that spinners obviously didn't have any turn or any sort of assistance in this pitch, especially Newlands, as it's mainly seam-friendly conditions. So, do you think maybe Ishan Sharma could have been utilized? I know Ashwin is obviously the number seven choice, and they didn't have Ravinder Jadeja obviously in this series, and Washington Sundar was well as injured, but maybe could have Shardul Thakur batted at number seven and maybe brought in a extra seamer. Or do you think they India needed that one spinner maybe to control that economy and to avoid dermitting points? I mean, from the ICC Test Championships, when a spinner bowls overs, usually they bowl it quicker compared to fast bowlers. So that could have been useful as well for Team India. So your thoughts on that, Omkar?
Yeah, definitely. One of the main reason to keep a spinner in the lineup was to control the slow over rate, not to avoid the demerit points in the World Test Championship points table. But I think Virat Kohli missed the trick of not adding Ishant Sharma. Instead of he added Umesh Yadav for the extra pace. But what happens with Umesh Yadav is he gets deliveries bad each and every over. Mostly he bowls on the leg side, and that goes for runs, and that was happening. He though he grabbed few wickets as well. But still, my personal opinion was Ishan Sharma ahead of Umesh Yadav, and Ashwin should have been there, because what happens, we don't have any other spinner to who can bat like Ashwin. Yes, we had Jayant Yadav, but he has only played in the subcontinent conditions. That is the home series, which that too only maybe 3 or 4 matches at max, not more than that. And Ashwin with his experience brings a lot to the team. He still grabbed 2-3 wickets in this series, probably, though the not the ideal start which he wants when he bowls in any series. But as a batsman, the way he used to play at the lower order, that is one of the reasons Ashwin was there in the lineup, because of his batting, and to maintain the over rate penalties.
Yeah, that's a valid point over there. So obviously we know that India won the toss, chose to bat first. Let's go through the first innings. So India all out for 223. I mean, Virat Kohli played an outstanding knock of 79, which we have to talk about. Obviously, Ronak, coming to Virat Kohli's knock, because that felt like a century. That innings that he scored, especially in the first innings, very crucial knock from Virat Kohli, and good to see him back in form like this after so long. I mean, after like 1 or 2 test series, it's good to see him back. So your thoughts on that? I mean, his technique in that innings, and also that battle between Rabada and Kohli, which is very interesting. I watched a video on that, and eventually Rabada did dismiss Kohli, but the defensive approach that Kohli played towards Rabada, ensuring that he remains not out and doesn't get out early, because Rabada was bowling beauties with proper accuracy. So your thoughts on that innings from Kohli, and the support from Pujara as well from the other end, scoring 43 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The way Kohli played in that innings is what it was completely, impeccable. He was looking determined. He was looking, uh, with conscious with his efforts, because if you see that in that innings it was his one of the slowest, if not the slowest, 50s that he made in his career in test match cricket. So I believe that making that impact and changing your game by after a series is pretty difficult as a batter, and he tried to do that I will stick to my game, and but I'll make sure that my defense is stronger. And when that happens, then I believe the second part of his innings was that he left around 100 balls outside off stump. That is the biggest factor in this innings, that he decided to leave those many balls, because we know that Virat Kohli likes to bat for the sixth stump, not for the third stump, but for the sixth stump. So that factor of his game has gone out completely, and he tried to do what Sachin did in Sydney, scoring the 241 runs without playing a cover drive. So Virat Kohli tried to emulate that, but to an extent he ran out of partners at the end, so he had to try something fancy and got out. But otherwise, he was not looking to get out anytime soon. If he had partners on his side, when he was on 79, I think only a few of the bowlers were left. So he had to, go for the runs. That is why when he saw that ball outside off, then he again nicked it. But otherwise, that 79 was as good as any 100 runs, not just 100, around run. It was as good as that. And talking about Pujara's innings, yes, we saw the competitive side of Pujara kicking in, the aggressive side of Pujara kicking in for the matter of fact for that innings, and we would like to see if he is given more chances in the next series, that is with Sri Lanka itself. So if he is given that chance, to bat again for India, or then I would like to see him score some big runs. You might not be thinking about that. You might be thinking that Pujara continues his form, but we would be praying as an Indian fan that Pujara, scores some big run and gets back to form if he at all plays for in that series.
True. The direct hit here says no support either from Kohli or Pant in both innings. Sad to see that. Omkar, your thoughts on that? Because I mean, Pant scored 100 in the second innings, which we'll discuss a bit later. But Kohli or Pant, no one supported, especially in the second innings. We'll be discussing that later. But that's sad to see, right? Especially the middle order collapsing like that against South Africa. When India currently the number one test ranked team also right now, performing like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The middle order has been very much inconsistent since the start of 2020. Probably, I guess, apart from after the Border Gavaskar series, we noticed a lot of middle order collapses or inconsistent performances, because still the Border Gavaskar trophy, it was a little not up to the mark, but still it was a bit stable if you compare it now. But I feel like the number three, number four, and number five, all the three have been very much inconsistent. Though Virat Kohli played a great knock of 17 and a great, I guess, the best half century in Test cricket which has ever played. But in the second innings, if you talk about, he played a too much defensive. What I feel, because he could have rotated the strike like what Keegan Peterson and Dean Alger did, even Van der Dusen did in the fourth innings while chasing the target of 212. So he could have rotated the strike. So maybe we could have got more score for the third innings. But yeah, though he has played a good knock of 79, but still he's also out of form. He's not getting the starts which he used to get earlier. Till 2019, he was scoring a double century or a century in Test cricket, and since now he has been averaging since that he's averaging 26 or 27 in Test cricket, which is very much out of. We can say that he's pretty much out of form, and maybe some theory says that he might have left the captaincy because to focus on his batting in all the three formats. That can also happen. We can't predict any possibility in and out.
Hmm, true. And Mohit, talking about South African bowling right now, Rabada and Jansen, both of them in both innings they got three or more wickets, and they were very supportive with each other. Without Noike as well in this Test squad, for Jansen to step up and take 19 wickets in this Test series even shows how good these youngsters, and they have a good future. I mean, the South Africa Test players, even though we are not talking much about them. Your thoughts on the fast bowlers of South Africa in this series, because they've been extremely good and may ensure that India struggle, and great comeback also by all these fast bowlers, especially after that first test loss as well.
Man, you can look. They have both of them have got 39 out of 60 Indian wickets. So it's a great achievement for both of them. In fact, the whole bowling lineup of South Africa, like even after missing the pace expert Hendrik Nortje in the series, they were so brutal. And to be very honest, Marco Jensen to me didn't look very disciplined bowler at the beginning in the first test. He was giving some bad balls to the batters in every over, but thereafter, the way he has conducted himself along with Rabada, like we knew that he was out of form and we could take advantage of it. But what a time he has got back, and what a way he has got back. So yes, kudos to them. The discipline they have shown was very beautiful to see. Along with this, I would appreciate Ngidi also. He debuted in last series versus India only in 2018, I guess.
Yeah.
There too, he showed some good line and length, and he was being consistent at these lengths. As we say about Nathan Lyon, like he would bowl at one point and at one length again and again. Ngidi was same in my opinion, and again bowling at same point again and again. And yes, pitch was doing their bit a lot, so it helped them a lot. And yes, the discipline shown by them was truly commendable.
Yeah. So let's go through the South Africa first innings. And obviously, we know India took a 13-run lead in the first innings. Keegan Peterson, I know you guys already spoke about him, played a magnificent knock of 72 in the second innings. So he also scored 86. But let's talk about the Indian bowlers and Jasprit Bumrah, Ronak. He's had a tremendous, I mean, in overseas tests, I mean, he's only picked most of in the overseas tests, obviously, because they need fast bowlers. Mainly, they only go with one seamer when it comes to home tests. So they mainly rest Bumrah. when it comes to home test series. But Bumrah, in away test series especially, he's been very, very effective. And the way that he's performing right now, I really don't know the words to describe about Bumrah, especially picking up another 5 wicket haul and ensuring India get a lead in the first inning. So, how impressed are you of Bumrah? And obviously, Shami hasn't been much in the game since 2018. He did contribute a bit, and Yadav a bit in the first innings. But your thoughts on Bumrah and how good he has been in overseas tests and in this series also against South Africa?
Just to correct you a bit, Shami has been performing really well for India, and in the first Test match, he had a fifer. So
Yeah,
in all the three Test matches, we had different people who took a fifer. I believe that
yeah,
is the fact. But
yeah,
Bumrah, he is world class bowler. There is no denying in the fact. And to me, if we consider all the formats, then he is the best in the world. In Test, he can be compared with likes of Pat Cummins and Rabada, and to an extent to maybe some other bowler. But as a whole, in all format, I don't think there is anyone who can be compared with Jasprit Bumrah in current form. And as you said, that he generally plays in the foreign conditions in when it comes to Test cricket. And
yeah,
if you see that his career, only two of the tests that he has played is in home conditions. Otherwise, all the test matches he have played is in overseas condition, and he is the fastest, I believe, Indian, not just Indian but Asian to take 100 wickets outside of Asia, fastest in that aspect as well. So
yeah,
yeah, kudos to Jasprit Bumrah. I mean, he is a rock star. He is the big thing in Indian cricket. I mean, if I had to rate who is more important or more valuable than Virat Kohli in the team, then I would have to give it to Jasprit Bumrah as of now, because he leads the pack by example. He comes back after a spell up, after every spell he comes with more fire. So
hmm,
his situation, just for an example, not in this series. If you saw England series, those that spell of 6 over,
yeah,
where he bowled to England, that was impeccable. You don't see anything better than that in Test cricket. And in this Test match as well, in the third Test, he had a spell where he, in the after the tea, just before the tea, in the first innings, he came back and rode back with quick wickets. So he is that kind of character that if he is in his rhythm, then you cannot. He's just unplayable. He's the best in. I just, if I had to say in one line, he's the best in the business. There is no denying the fact.
yeah. That's right on that. Yeah, Omkar, I have to ask about. Let's go back to South Africa, obviously, and Keegan Peterson, as the direct hit here says, another upcoming KP from South Africa. But the difference is he did not go to England. Uh, but still, Keegan Peterson, Van der Dusen, Bavuma, those three players played very well, especially in the first innings. Played some small partnerships, obviously, and they did trail India at the end by 13 runs. But how crucial that innings from Peterson. Otherwise, I would think that in South Africa would have been bowled out even less than 150. But he stood up and somehow showed the South Africa that they can somehow go and match the number one test rank team. So your thoughts on that, Omkar?
Well, 50 plus scores in both the innings of the test is really appreciable, because sometimes what happens, a century might not be in your hand, but a good fighting half century can be much better than a century. I would also reckon, for example, if I take the knock of Virat Kohli, I would not reckon it as a century. I would reckon it as a hard fought half century, because what happens, because of the century thing, the half century which the other players have scored, or that particular players has scored, that becomes a bit underrated, and people don't notice it if anyone has got 100. So I feel the Keegan Peterson, though has played his almost, I guess, 10 or 11 tests for South Africa, he has just been impressive. Though he was not a debutant, but still he just outplayed us in the middle, because our middle order was not consistent and their middle order was completely consistent. Like they had Peterson, Van der Dusen, Elgar at the top of the order, and for the first test they had De Kock, and at number 5 they had Bauma. Bauma was a very much underrated player of this series. People don't talk about much about him because of he's scoring not big numbers, but still the scores which he has scored are very much valuable to the scores which South Africa has got on the board.
Hmm. True about that. Yeah, but not much people are talking about the South Africa lower middle order also, Mohit. I think that could be a weakness also because I mean not much of the lower middle order batsmen and the the bowlers have been contributing much with the runs. The Indian middle order batsmen have been spoken a lot, but especially from number 6 to number 11, the South African batsmen haven't been scoring much runs except for Marco Jansen in one innings. If I'm not mistaken, he did score runs, but otherwise they haven't been contributing. So, Mohit, your thoughts on that? How South Africa can improve in that aspect? In your thoughts on that? Yeah.
I thought South
Yeah.
African keeper, wherein was pretty much out of form in this series. We didn't see him scoring a lot, and that was the main point of concern, because you need someone in the middle, lower middle order, to take the tail ahead with you, and there was no one for South Africa at that point of time, and I thought that that was the main point of concern. Uh, yes, if you see, if your middle order is contributing, no one expect your tail to perform well, and the opposite goes for India. Our middle order is completely out of their place, and we are expecting our tail to perform in every damn innings. So yes, this is the point of concern where our bowlers excelled well. Like, we were facing the problem of giving a lot of runs to tail and lower middle order in the past. But in recent times, it has improved a lot. It has improved a lot because our bowlers are giving their 100%, as we can see, leading from Bumrah and Shami. And we have the fearless Siraj as well. So
Hmm.
yes, that has been the case, and I give credits for this to our bowlers.
Hmm, true. So let's go back to the second innings, and what a knock from Rishabh Pant. Finally, he scored a century. I was just speaking before. Pant was scoring a century. Maybe he could be dropped after the second test, after that silly dismissal for a duck. But what a comeback from Rishabh Pant, scoring 100, being that he scored his third overseas 100, his fourth 100 overall in Test cricket. And I think Pant's place is now definitely secured in all three formats. Ronak, what innings from Rishabh Pant at a crucial stage, getting most of the majority runs alongside Kohli, who played a very, very patient knock in that second innings, as you described earlier. But what a quick firing 100 from Pant when Team India really needed one batsman to step up.
Yeah, that is what Rishabh Pant is known for, right? He is the uh, quintessential batsman who is known for his aggressiveness, and he has again proved is that if he goes onto his own stride, then no one can match him run for run. I believe Rishabh Pant is a match winner, but the thing is that of course we are very happy the way he played in the second innings. But if you see in the last, not just this series but last couple of series, he has not been able to perform after that
Yeah.
heroics in Gaba. After he
Hmm.
did that, he is not being able to perform consistently, and he has been getting out to silly shots, I believe.
Yeah.
And now he will have to understand that if he wants a permanent place, because in India there are a lot of players who are breathing down his neck. The biggest name, Srikar Bharat, he is in the ranks to replace him. But if he has to become the match winner that we think of, because we all know what talent he has, what potential he has, but he has to live it up and back it by some consistency. So I
Hmm.
believe that Rishabh Pant can do that, but to do that, in order to do that, he has to sit down with Rahul Dravid, our coach, and decide that what can be a middle ground. Because on his days he will win his matches, no second thoughts about that. But
Yeah.
but the thing is that inconsistency is very high. If you are
Yeah.
playing one good innings and after that you are playing 10 to 20 silly shots and getting out, that is not doing any good for Indian cricket. If you see Virendra Sehwag, he used to bat like him, like he was fearless, but he used to select his shots really well. And when he selected his shots, he made sure that he went for it. So I believe that he had to follow that template to an extent, that I will have more good days than bad days, and when I have good days, I will make it count.
Yeah, true. But the thing is that not many wicket keepers, obviously, from India have scored that much overseas hundreds. And I mean, only seven, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Rishabh Pant has contributed in three. We know in home conditions, he hasn't shown much of his calibre yet, and he is getting dismissed. In silly shots, I do agree with you for an extent, but yeah, his consistency is a bit of a worry, and I think maybe he has to work on that a bit because he's playing. He's a
But
key member
but
and could,
Pawan,
yeah,
Pawan, the thing is that when we talk about evolution of cricket, earlier it was that you had five batters, six batters, four
yeah,
bowlers, and one wicket keeper. Wicket
mm,
keeper's genuine role was just to wicket keep. If you
yeah.
see in history, then none of
Yes.
the wicket keepers used to bat. They were
Yeah.
just for wicket keeping, and if they could bat 20, 30 runs, that was enough. But cricket has evolved,
Mm.
especially in Asian conditions. If you see even Sri Lanka, you expect something from your keeper. He is not just your keeper; he is your batter as well. This trend has to
Right.
change. That if you are expecting something out of someone, now you cannot compare that. Now Rishabh Pant has scored four centuries. We have this much in history because stats are there. They are true. No denying the fact. But you have to get around the fact that the cricket has to evolve in a certain extent, and it has
Mm.
evolved a number of a number of by number of folds. Now you see that in even in batters, earlier what was the case in ODIs? Batters with 35 average were considered very good, 35,
True.
36. But right
Yeah.
now, if you're 35, 36, you are considered a mediocre batter. You have to have a 45 plus average in ODIs at least. So by time it is changing in a matter of time. So Rishabh Pant also has to adapt to that. That he is not just a wicket keeper. He has done better than most of the wicket keepers as a batter, but he will have to improve even more if he has to secure, because competition in India is very tough. You cannot be just a good wicket keeper, because he has developed as a wicketkeeper by faults. So he has to develop as a batsman also.
Mm, I agree on that. Omkar, your thoughts also on Rishabh Pant's innings and Mohit as well. Do you agree to Ronak as an extent, or do you have other opinions on this? Whether he may be able to continue playing for India? I mean, not being considered to be dropped because he could be even a shortlist to become India's next captain. I know that won't happen, but he is in the shortlist. To become India's next captain for India. But with his inconsistency at times and with his shot selection, what should one do to improve that, Omkar? Because at times he plays like a 2020 mode, and he doesn't seem to have some concentration at times. And we saw that in the innings. Except for this innings, I mean, in the third test, the punt has been sort of inconsistent, and we were worried whether he'll be dropped after this test series. So your thoughts on that, Omkar and Mohit
I
after that?
completely agree with Ronak because he said there is a lot of competition. One player who got injured at the very wrong time was KS Bharat, the wicketkeeper from Karnataka, who was playing really well. He was as a substitute wicketkeeper in the New Zealand first test at Kanpur, and he did really well in the absence of Shah. So
Yeah.
there were talks that he should be given a chance in South Africa in the South Africa tour, but he got injured. And for Pant as a captain, I don't want it personally because I would see a downfall of Indian cricket if Pant becomes the captain. Let's take an example of IPL. Where he had a really a good team which was in form, like you had Norkia, Rabada, Avesh Khan, the experience of Ashwin, Dhawan, the youngsters like Prithvi Shaw, Marcus Stoinis, all the bases were really covered for Rishabh Pant as a captain to lead the team. And
Yeah.
when the crucial moment comes, he gives the final over to a rookie, that is Tom Curran, instead of an experienced Rabada who might have gone an economy of 9 with, but still he had an over left, and you had MS Dhoni, the captain cool, the best
Mm.
finisher, but still. You have to
Yeah.
go with the experience because in 2019 final Rohit Sharma went with Malinga to bowl the last over despite Malinga was smashed for runs, and the Rishabh Pant didn't look at the experience. He just went to Tom Curran, a rookie, and that would have been a DC's match. But still, what happens when an experienced player is not given, and when you don't trust an experienced player in front of a rookie player, this a loss is definitely coming on your way.
Yeah. And Mohit, you being a Delhi Capitals fan, I know you must be a big Pant fan, obviously. So, but your thoughts on Pant's innings? I mean, in this Test match, and I mean, he needs to improve on his inconsistency, obviously. But your thoughts on his shot selection in Test cricket, because that's not acceptable, obviously, and people do look at that most often about Pant's shot selection. And upcoming series, especially against Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, that's a time to prove for Pant. I don't know whether he'll be selected or not, but your thoughts on mainly his shot selection, and maybe try to improve his consistency in the upcoming years, because there's so much in line to actually replace Pant as well. Wicket keepers, talking about Saha, Case, Bharat, as both Ronak and Omkar mentioned as well.
Pawan, I see Pant as a double-edged sword, because whenever he gets going, he make ensure that uh, if it is not for my team, I'll break it the other team for sure. But yes,
Yeah.
Pant is that player which I have seen over past couple of years, which have started really well in especially in away countries, because players we see they get out for single digit scores and early in the innings, but Pant don't have that problem. He scores those crucial 20, 25, 30 runs, gets a start, and then plays a bad shot to end his innings. So yes, that is again the point. He's a double edged sword. He will get go the way he plays. And yes, if we talk about the second test, that shot against Ravada, I felt that I don't feel that the shot was poor. I feel that he chose the best bowler in the world, and that was a poor selection, because
Mm.
Rabada at that point of time was on his last over of the spell, and he could have waited and smashed other bowlers if he wanted to. But in the heat of movement, I think he had a talk with RVD at that point of time, and in the
Yeah,
heat of that moment, he played that shot, and we know the result. But
yeah,
yes, you are talking about dropping Pant. That is not going to happen in Indian cricket at all. We have backed them. We have backed him for 2 3 years, even after he was not performing at the initial years. And the prospect that he brings to the team in the middle order, and the way he bats in the Test cricket, like we can see, he could be a great brand ambassador of Test cricket at all. The way the casuality in his batting is so much lovely to see. It's
beautiful.
really beautiful to watch as a cricket fan, and I hope he continues to bat in the same manner.
Yeah, because I think Pant, I think under Virat Kohli, I think only Rishabh Pant and Shardul Thakur have played all three formats. I mean, debut all three formats under Kohli. So, I mean, Kohli and Pant must be having so much faith. I mean, Kohli must be having so much faith to trust Pant to actually play in all three formats. Not easy as actually being a captain. I mean, only two players being involved under Kohli to represent all three formats, and Pant is one. And we saw in the under 19 World Cup also. I was watching some highlights of Pant in 2016, especially when he was playing. I know in the finals he did get out for a low score, but Pant's evolution from 2016 to 2021 has been tremendous. But unfortunately, in Test cricket, he's shown some inconsistencies. But let's see whether the selectors or Rahul Dravid will back Pant for the upcoming home series against Sri Lanka. We never know what the selectors are going to do, but let's see what they'll try to do with Pant's decision. But let's go to Pujara and Rahane, Purane as we call. Could this be the end of both of these players' careers? I know in the second test they did contribute and they scored half centuries, but talking about the averages, both Rahane and Pujara, they have a 20 plus average only in Test cricket, and that's not acceptable. Being middle order batsmen, playing at number 3 and number 5 respectively, and they've especially Rahane, his peak years have gone from 2013 to 2017. His average was around 40 or 50 if I'm not mistaken, and right now his average is around even 19 or 20 right now. So Ronak, your thoughts, and that potentially was why Rahane was dropped from vice captain as well of Team India. So do you see them as the end of the road, because we've been giving them chances from their past results? What Pujara has contributed to India cricket is tremendous in Test, especially in that home series 2012 to 14 yeah, against England, against Australia away in 2017. Those home series, he always scores runs between those years 2012 to 17. But do you think their time is done, and players like Shreyas Iyer, Shubman Gill, Mayank Agrawal could maybe replace these two players for the upcoming home series and think about the future right now?
Yeah, see, to an extent, all your points are pretty valid that their average is pretty low and all that. But I feel that to an extent, that I had some feeling that because Rahane was dropped, I feel Pujara, though I don't want it personally as a fan, but I think Pujara will be given one more chance. That is
Yeah,
my opinion, not belief. I don't want that, but hypothetically speaking, Indian cricket would maybe give him one more chance. But I feel that both of their time has come to go at with some respect in that sense. But when I talk about Pujara and Rahane's individually as a partnership, then I believe that giving them this much chance and not capitalizing on the current form of Shreyas Iyer or say Hanuma Vihari or say Surya Kumar Yadav, these three players are on fringe of getting an Indian call up, and not utilizing their form is a disrespect to their services, because what is the message that you are giving to them, that you are not capable enough to replace Rahane and Pujara? No disrespect to Rahane and Pujara, but the thing is that you cannot give a bad message or a negative message to your players who are on bench and performing very good. Because Iyer in his last test match scored a century, I guess, almost in
yes,
the last or the second last test, he scored a century. So I believe that if you are not being able to give the players who are on bench a positive side, don't at least give them a negative impact that you are not capable enough to replace these players, because that might impact them mentally, and the form that they are carrying might get lost in this process. So if they're because anybody's, if you see in world cricket, anyone's golden form or a purple patch comes for very short time, maybe for a duration of 2 or 3 years or 4 years.
yeah,
If as a country, if you don't utilize it properly, then you are lacking on serious talent. But that is why I believe that Shreyas Iyer and Hanumas Vihari's purple patch is right now, because they are in their form of life, and
true.
maybe they might improve, but this 2 3 years we cannot waste of theirs. So I believe
Mm,
if there is right time, and for Shreyas Iyer specifically, I believe that he is a good captaincy material as well, ahead of Rishabh Pant and the KL Rahul. So
yeah,
if he can be kept around in the circle, in the mix for next 2 3 years, he can be even made the captain. Right now, I believe the process that India has followed before the South Africa series, Rohit Sharma was announced the vice captain. So he is a natural successor. Because he was injured, he KL Rahul was named. But I believe that he will be a natural successor to be a captain for the Test series as well. But post that, I believe that making Rohit Sharma as a captain is fine, but after that, I believe you can keep Shreyas Iyer in the mix and make him vice captain and then captain gradually. So I believe giving chances to Gill, Shreyas Iyer, Hanuma Vihari, Suryakumar Yadav is the right time right now, and maybe saying adieu, goodbye, whatever, thank you to Pujara and Rahane.
yeah. Omkar and Mohit, your thoughts also on Pujara and Rahane, because I know Rahane usually scores runs in crunch situations in the second innings usually, but when he scores in one innings, usually he's inconsistent for like 10 or 15 innings in like the last 3 or 4 years, and that's what we don't want to see from Team India also, for the middle order especially to struggle. I mean, Pujara has shown some sort of progress in this test series, but still, I mean, previously he hasn't been performing well as well, and maybe these two might be coming towards the end of their careers, because chances like Bihari and Iyer, as Ronak said, could be threatened right now, because those two are in their forms of their lives, and if they don't get the chance right now for this upcoming series against Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, I don't know when, because India don't play that much test matches also. I mean, outside Asia for the upcoming 2 years as well. So do you think it's the right time maybe to give them a farewell, at least just give them a farewell match and just end both of these careers? So maybe do you think they could be in the setup for the next 1 or 2 years, Amkar, and then Mohit on that? Yeah,
Well, after hearing yesterday's news, I feel like a leader like Ajinkya Rahane should be there now because of what has happened yesterday. Before that, my thoughts, there has been bad patches with players as well. Sometimes what happens, the bad patch a bit goes for longer period, and till 2019 he was playing really well. In 2019, his test average for that particular calendar year was 71, because of he was the leading run scorer also for us in the World Test Championship cycle, the inaugural World Test Championship, which had taken place. It happens, bad patches come and bad patches go, but still we people just are forgetting the fate which he gave us, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, under the where majority of the players are injured. As a captain, he led the team, and he just went on to win, because we were expecting that we won't win after what has happened in the first test, but still he stayed there, and he has been working really hard. Because I personally know Ajinkya Rane is been a very hard-working player. Similar goes with Pujara as well, taking the blows on their bodies and winning you a tough series down under. But I feel like a form happens. Okay, it's like even Virat Kohli is struggling for 2 years, so there are no talks of Virat Kohli getting dropped, because he was a captain, and he was also not scoring runs. Like, he was also having a 4 or 5 half century scores from since Jan 2020. So all the three legendary players of the backbone of Indian Test team, all the three have been going through a rough patch, and I feel. Though these two made a partnership of a good of 111 in the second test, I feel like what has happened yesterday, as we have Virat Kohli no longer as a captain in any of the format now, especially in the test cricket where he was much needed. So there are few players who don't get frequent chances. Like Ashwin is not a sure start in overseas tour apart from Australia.
Yeah.
I guess in South Africa he didn't get much, and in England he was also not great because there was Jadeja. So Ashwin as a captaincy material for longer period is not going to happen, because his age is also 36, and Rohit Sharma has just been permanent for from last 2 years in this test team, and uh, giving Pant his place in the team is just almost a fit or not fit. It's a dilemma right now, 50-50 ratio. And Shreyas Iyer, talking about him, he has not secured his place till now. Like, he has always been in and out of the Indian white ball team as well, and he has just
Yeah.
made his debut. So we need a leader like Rahane to balance the team and to control the situation, because what has happened yesterday, it was a complete shocker. No one would have thought that this guy leaving test captaincy as well after what has been happening. No, we don't know the real reason, but at such time, what happens, an experienced player, a player who's been part of the leadership group since the retirement of MS Dhoni in test cricket, I feel like we need a leader like him in the team right now, because the contenders who are there, they have not been permanent for a longer period of time. Like, KL was dropped; he has been permanent since the England series. Rohit been 2 years, but he has already been the captain of two formats, and maybe BCCI won't give him the captaincy, just not to add the extra pressure of him because of the ICC tournaments which we'll be having every year. So I feel a leader like Ajinkya Rane is required at the moment to handle the team in such situations for the home series as well, and even the one-off test which we have at Edgbaston.
Mm. Yeah, Mohit, do you agree with Omkar, or do you have a different opinion towards Pujara and Rahane? Whether they'll be dropped with how the form that they have had in the last 2-3 years. We know that they do play well in 1 or 2 innings, but the rest of the innings they've been very inconsistent. So, do you think this is high time for both of them to leave? As the direct hit has said here, it's high time. Last 20 tests, one is averaging 20, the other slightly above. So, your thoughts, Mohit?
Yes, I will oppose the statements made by Omkar sir, because I think that it is high time now because of the competitive environment which India is facing, because they are facing the problem of plenty, and a lot of players are waiting for them to have their chance. And I feel that one of them, maybe Rahane, can be dropped for the upcoming series, and I have a gut feeling about Pujara that he can be. There can be a slight chance that he can be named one more time, and if he performs, he can continue. Otherwise, this is high time now, And if we talk about captaincy, as of now, there are two main options if we see, which is Rohit and KL. And there are three four other out of the box kind of options, but can be the next ones if selected or chosen. That can be Rahane, Bumrah, Pant, Iyer, and even Ashwin to a slight extent. If we play the elimination game, I think Rahane is such in a bad position that otherwise he could have been the first choice without any doubt. But looking at the scenario, and if the split captaincy is true, I don't think Rohit too fits in a captain position. To be really honest, and KL is in the line for sure, and that's my opinion. Let KL captain it for next 12 to 18 months. Iyer solidifies his position until then in the squad, and as a future prospect, I can see him leading India in Test cricket. And there are others too. Bumrah can be an option, but I don't feel so. Pant, we can't imagine as a Test captain. No disrespect, but it doesn't seem to me as a captain material in Test cricket.
Yeah.
Iyer is surely a fourth state, and I just saw a comment
Yeah,
saying
from
no,
Garvit has
no.
said,
Uh,
no, not KL, please, and Iyer also no. So then that seems like it's either Rohit. I think he must be opting for Rohit, but I think that's for the short term, right, Rohit? Because obviously he's
yes,
34 right now.
can
He only has 2 or 3 years left in Test cricket, and usually I think BCCI don't think in the long term. Also, we've seen obviously Rohit is now vice captain, and maybe he's like the option to go for captaincy right now. But Ronak, we know how Kohli faced difficulty captaining for all three formats. Do you think Rohit, with his fitness issues right now, whether he can captain all three formats and whether that will cause any problems? Also, is it the right option right now to think about the long term and go to KL Rahul at least right now? Because I'm not sure whether Rohit Sharma can last in Test cricket for next 1 or 2 years based on his fitness with his injuries right now. And KL Rahul can be a good potential candidate, and maybe he can learn also a lot more from Virat Kohli and improve his captaincy material. Even though we saw some weaknesses in his first Test match as captain, that happens because even Virat Kohli lost his first series as captain in overseas Test matches. So, do you see that they'll go BCCI will go for a long term, or whether they'll go with a short term basis with Rohit and then give the captaincy to either Iyer or KL?
See, the out of box thinking is there, but in general, I feel that Rohit Sharma can be there. But if I had to go something aside from that, what my mind feels, Ashwin can be a very good option because he is a very good brain in cricket, and we are underutilizing his brain. His bowling is good, his legend is good, but his brain, I believe that Indian cricket is missing on that. And if for next 2 3 years, I believe we can do what Vista can do is they can have a temporary captain for the 2023 World Test Championship cycle, and post
Yeah,
and during that time India can have actually two potential vice captains, which they can think of. Maybe one can be KL Rahul, one can be Shreyas Iyer, or whoever Vista feels like is the probable candidate who can lead in future, who is
yeah,
maybe right now 24, 25, 26, and he can be there for next 7 8 years, because Virat Kohli was a captain for 7 years, MS Dhoni was a captain for 7 years. So 6 7 years is a perfect cycle for a captain in test match, specifically. So I believe that Bistai will be looking into this aspect, that till 2023 give a captain, make anyone captain, because till 2023 we don't need a captaincy material as such, because we are playing in Asian conditions more or less. During that
yeah,
time, only just one test in Edgbaston that is left of England series. There, the skills will be checked, but otherwise, I feel that India is pretty much sorted in Asian conditions. So I believe anyone can be given, either Rohit Sharma, Ashwin, or even if they want to make KL Rahul, then they can make him or make them the captain, and two vice captain candidates should be picked up, and they can be rotated or whatever, and check them how they perform under pressure, and then maybe do a transition and groom them, and then do the transition under Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma.
yeah. let's quickly sum up the match and then speak about the captaincy and about Virat's legacy. I'll send the link out definitely after this slide. But talking about the second innings of South Africa, obviously they chased down 212, only losing 3 wickets. And this was actually Kohli's first loss as a captain after India had a 150 plus lead, which is very surprisingly, because usually Kohli has been very dominant, and especially in overseas tests. I mean, to lose this test match, I mean, having a 150 plus target, I mean, it was surprising for me. But I mean, the bowlers also didn't bowl in the right lane, especially, I mean, Bumrah and Umesh Yadav should be mentioned. I mean, his economy was very poor, scoring, I mean, going for as an economy. So your thoughts on the second innings, Ronak? I mean, especially we need to credit Keegan Peterson for his innings, but your thoughts on Indian bowlers in the second innings?
I mean to say that Indian bowlers did try their best, but I feel to an extent, Bumrah and Shami were out-bowled. They in the series bowled more than anyone else, more than 100 close overs. So I believe that was the pressure. They were not being ably supported by someone else. Siraj was supporting them really well, and because he missed in this test, so I believe the firepower was lacking, and there was not much trust provided by Shardul Thakur. Shardul Thakur did provide some trust in the second test, but in this test match, I believe Shardul Thakur and Ashwin did not provide that much of trust to Virat Kohli that they can be the option. So I believe Virat Kohli can be a good option. Sorry, not Virat Kohli. Uh, the bowlers did try to bowl really well, but Bumrah and Shami were outbowled. That was the reason they missed on the line and lengths, and that is not much on bowlers. But if you have a target in mind, like 212, which is not uh, you know a great total, and South Africa being the chasers in fourth innings, we saw in second test as well. Uh, Especially Dean Elgar, Keegan Peterson, they are a very good team. So with those kind of batsmen who are rigid and who are there, you can expect something very good. And what they did was really expected out of them, that they would do good with those partnerships. So I believe that it is more about how the South African batters approached it more than how Indian bowlers bowled over here.
Yeah. Mohit, and then we'll come to Aryan as well from the direct hit. Mohit, your thoughts also on the Indian bowlers, especially, I mean, Umesh Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah even didn't get his lines properly. After a good first innings, he bowled very well in the first innings, but second innings, what happened to Team India, especially? I mean, the same mistake as the second test, you believe, or what happened to the Indian bowlers, especially Umesh Yadav? Could Ishan Sharma maybe have played? For Umesh Yadav, your thoughts on that? What happened to the Indian bowlers in the second innings, especially?
Yes, I completely agree of playing Ishant ahead of Umesh, because Umesh is that guy which constantly leak those crucial runs in crucial times of the innings. Because we have seen him over a couple of not couple of years, but more than 5 6 years, that he has been the bowler which bowls 3 4 good balls in an over, and will give 2 or 3 bad balls around his leg, or even uh, wide off the stump. So yes, Ishant over Umesh could have been a great option, but the
Yeah,
management stood with Umesh, and I feel that DRS controversy and the over aggression after that from Indian cricketers
yeah,
costed them those 40 50 odd runs, which were very crucial at that point of time, and that costed us a lot, because we could have stayed calm and composed at that point of time, and could have maintained that run rate at that point of time. But we were just over aggression at that point of time, and that
yeah,
50 odd runs costed us a lot. Otherwise, I think that this was apart from Umesh, I didn't see any underperformance by any bowler.
mm,
We sometimes you need to appreciate the batters too, and I
yeah,
feel the grittiness shown by African batters from 1 to 5. It was beautiful to watch in the second innings, in the fourth innings of second and third both test.
yeah. So Aryan and Garvit have joined, by the way. So your thoughts also on, I mean, the second innings that happened. I mean, South Africa easily chased it with only 3 wickets down. They somehow managed to win this Test match, and obviously we need to credit Keegan Peterson for his innings. Your thoughts on the reply that South Africa gave, especially being a trailing India in the first innings as well, and then coming back in the second innings to win this Test match for the second time, chasing a 200 plus target. I mean, only the fourth time ever in Cape Town that a team has managed to do this also. So, Aryan, your thoughts on this, and then Garvit as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. The thing is that it was India's game to lose basically. The bowlers had passed on the baton, you can say, to the batsmen now, and it was the batsman's job to apply themselves to an extent on the wicket and get gritty runs, get hard runs. Because we have seen in this series, the pitches have been bowler friendly, and why we are praising Keegan Peterson is because he stood there and he's got runs in tough conditions. So unfortunately, we couldn't do that. And another deciding factor was whenever we bought Shardul in or Umesh in, there was one big over, like we got hit for a boundary or a two consecutively. So the change bowlers couldn't keep that pressure on. Like Ronak said, the Shami and Bumrah got overboard. They bowled so much because our change bowlers, Ashwin, Umesh, or Shardul, couldn't just keep that lid on South Africa. So if one
Yeah.
end was kept tight, the other end opened up and we leaked runs. And as Mohit also covered it up, that aggressive phase of Dean Elgar LBW, and then we lost the plot. And somewhere I think Kohli could have managed the situation really well. And if the captain loses his head in between a match, I think that impacts the whole team. So that was these were a few factors, but credit must go where it's due. And South Africa, this is a huge win for them in terms of this year, because they're going to go New Zealand, they're going to go England. And we've talked about the fast bowling group. It's a brilliant group, and I think they can give a tough fight to England in England, and similarly for New Zealand. So South Africa, played really well.
Yeah. Garvit, your thoughts as well on, I mean, South Africa's response in the second innings, and what happened to the Indian bowlers, especially in the second innings. I mean, as Aryan said, Bumrah and Shami were overball, and obviously we didn't see much assistance for the spinners, for Ashwin, or even Maharaj for South Africa, not making much of an impact. And then Umesh Yadav's poor performances as well in the second innings might have costed India. So, your thoughts on that, Garvit?
I feel like Ashwin was underbowled definitely. He got 7 overs in the fourth innings on a pitch, who I think on a pitch that I think had a little bit of assistance for the spinners in the fourth innings, especially. And Umesh Yadav, talking about him, he's very lethal in the home conditions because he likes when the ball skids. And here he was getting that extra bounce, which many pacers like, but it was going against him, I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the DRS controversy, obviously, of Dean Elga, and about Virat Kohli with his on mic stump incident. Obviously, we need to speak about that. So, Ronak, your thoughts on this, especially, and big controversy over here. I mean, Kohli not accepting that it was not out, and they were in disbelief from this situation. So your thoughts, maybe that there was a extra bounce in that delivery that Ashwin played, or maybe that was a technical error. I mean, technology errors also do happen. There is a 1% chance that technology could get wrong as well. So do you see that aspect, or do you think there was a fault? That delivery itself was a bit too bounce, and may did that actually distract India also? I mean, there. All the players. From this incident.
Yeah, I believe that the technology, whatever the thing was, it is in technology's hand, and it's Super Sports which handles the technical aspect or the broadcasting aspect in South Africa, clarified that they had nothing to do with it. The DRS company, which handles all this technological aspect, which basically they handle the technological aspect all around the world. So we cannot blame DRS for it currently, and that to a naked eye, even umpires, if the experienced umpire like Erasmus says that it looked out to a naked eye, then we must believe him. And we, as a fan, also thought that how can this, if the ball is struck under the knee roll, then how can he go, how can it bounce up, more over the wicket. Uh, but to be fair to South Africa as well, uh, that one decision could have a bigger impact. But I think that India lost the plot and somewhat got in the controversy side of it more than focusing on what could have happened after that if they had stuck to the tight lines that they were bowling to. But after that, it was just excitement and getting over the line and losing the plot overall of the game. And we must not forget the bigger picture because of this, that the batting of our batting has been poor, and just because of this controversy and Virat Kohli's decisions of taking stepping down from captaincy, these two decisions should not impact the overall purview of this series, that India batted really poorly.
Omkar, your thoughts also on this DRS review controversy, and do you think that Team India was distracted, and Kohli, especially that incident on mic stump incident? Legend, I mean, cricketers like Gambhir and Michael Bogg even criticized. I mean, there must be more commentators who did criticize on Kohli's incident. What are your thoughts on that? And does Virat Kohli actually deserve to get suspended if there was some? I mean, if he misbehave, I mean, if ICC saw this as a wrong way from Kohli, and set a, I mean, he maybe have set a wrong example to all the youngsters, and the others as well. Your thoughts on that, Tomkar?
I think, see, anyone would have get frustrated on that point, because by rightly Ronak said, by looking by naked eyes, it was completely clear. It was a clear LBW, which was given out by umpire Erasmus, and then we know the technology what it said. The ball bounced a bit, and it was missing the bails as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so I feel like the what we can say, the anxiousness or the frustration was definitely was going to come, because um, when you see such a ball through naked eyes, even as a spectator or as a player, you can guarantee that this is going to hit the stump very easily. It's not missing at all. So but the I according to what ICC should think, according to me, is that they should look that Virat Kohli hasn't said anything about the umpires or the match officials. He has he showed his frustration against the broadcasters who were there in the Cape Town stadium. So what happens, for example, the broadcasters send their technical team to the stadiums to look after the DRS and all thing, and with such DRS or and such LPW calls, controversial, despite having technology in today's world, the broadcasters don't use it really well, and we can see the frustration of the players. It might would have turned the match, and we would have won this series. We never know, because of the such controversial things happening.
Yeah. Aryan, your thoughts also on this incident, because this could have basically lost time in India. The plot of this match, since who knows that they may have been distracted by this incident going on, especially Elgar being not out, and eventually Shami did dismiss Elgar in the second innings at the last delivery of that day. But your thoughts on this incident as well. And Omkar left. He told me that he's leaving. But your thoughts, Aryan, on this?
No, see, there was a time in cricket when DRS was not there. A lot of wrong decisions were made even then, and the for the sole fact DRS was brought into the game that the wrong ones get turned into the right ones. But it was, a rare incidence where, the naked eye looked out, but somewhere the technology showed it going over the stumps. But Kohli's emotions took over him, and I understand that. These things happen, but you should blow off this team after a few minutes of the incident. What I've seen many captains do is just gather your team around while the water is on the park, the drinks, and just have a chat to them, calm things down, and then get back to the work. But nothing of that sorts happened, and I think the heat of the moment really carried on. There was no break, and that really caught India in a sort of a turmoil, and they could never get out of that moment. I think somewhere when those 5 overs were bowled, we gave away 40 runs. And throughout those 5 overs, I think that incident kept bugging the bowlers, Virat Kohli. You could see him sledge Wonder Dusan also the very next day. about his chat with Rishabh Pant. So it was a frustrating day for India overall, and I think yeah, these things happen, and just let them go after a few minutes if you can, and focus on the game. That should have happened, but unfortunately this is a thing that they can learn from. So all things happen for a good reason. If such a situation arises, maybe in the next series or maybe whenever, India can learn from it and act better. Yeah.
So we'll just talk about the positives of India cricket. I mean, in this series, Mohit, your thoughts on the positives that India can look at in this test match, and also on South Africa as well. Their positives, we know it was Keegan, Peterson, and Jansen. But what were the positives that India can take from this series?
If we look from the batting point of view, apart from the first day of this tour, I don't find any positives from batters. If we see Virat Kohli and Pant, yes, Virat Kohli looked very solid in the third test when he came back, and Pant too. We know he is a double-edged sword and will work someday and will not work someday. But over and all, I find Virat and Pant very composed in that manner. Uh, I could have expected Ashwin as a batter some more runs because we know he is an all rounder. He have 4 500s. But as we know, South African soil doesn't support spinners, and if a spinner kind of Ashwin is not working out there, then we know this is a problematic place, and Ashwin could have scored some runs more to his name. But positive again, the bowlers stood up again. They took those crucial wickets, but the last innings of second and third test, again the batters from South Africa were up to the mark, and the grittiness shown by them deserved that they deserve to win. That's all. I think Pawan is stuck with his network
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, I think Pawan is stuck. Maybe some network issues.
I
Anyways,
think
Anand bhai, how are you? And what do you feel about Virat Kohli leaving the captaincy? Um,
shock. Shock. Couldn't still process. I'm not able to process this. It'll like Harsha Bogle tweeted. I'll just restate it. It'll take time to sink in, and we won't get another captain like him. But somewhere, as we say in India, my bap se panga le liya, so he took on BCCI in that small interview, and I think the character Saurav is, and we saw he played, he abided by the rules, and whoever came at him in some sense, he saw to set things straight. I think Saurav Ganguly decided that okay, maybe his role is there. I don't know. We from here outside cannot comment, but maybe there was a rift, and we have been hearing talks about rift within the team. That there's a divide in the dressing room, so many factors could have come, but again, it's his personal decision. At least he was not forced out of Test captaincy. I'm happy about that. That he wasn't. Hello, okay, you're removed as a Test captain. Okay, bye, see you. That didn't happen. So I hope that he just comes back as a batsman. That's the only hope now we can hope. And he is playing the one day series, right? People were saying yesterday that he's not playing, but I think he is playing.
but
In
He is there.
but he is there. But I feel that I don't know about the rift about with him and sort of Ganguly, but the main factor that which I believe is where Vikrant Gupta said that he had a great conversation with Rahul Dravid for 2 3 hours after the test match. So that could have led out to some factors, and the matter that India is not playing a series outside of Asia for next 2 3 years. If
yeah.
Virat Kohli had to leave the captaincy, then maybe the best time was today. If he had to leave the captaincy in near future, then the best
Yeah,
time was this series, because if you see Virat Kohli as a captain, then in Asian conditions we don't need much of that captaincy sort of thing. So the
Exactly.
transitioning could be very smooth. So I believe Rahul Dravid and he had a talk about this. Then I think they both convinced on the fact that Virat Kohli will factor more on how
uh,
to go ahead about this. And That is why I think Virat Kohli left the captaincy on that note, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe he's also thinking about if Dravid has come in, then he as a coach has some plans for the team, and he would
Yeah.
give him the total freedom to plan the way he wants to with the team.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
sorry for the
True.
network issue. So yeah,
Yeah.
we were just talking. I mean, you guys must be about talking on Virat Kohli. So what our legacy from Virat Kohli? Obviously, captaining for 68 Test matches, winning 40 Test matches, having a winning percentage of
Mm.
58.82%. I mean, he captained until 33 years, same age as MS Dhoni. Also stepped down. So, do you think this is the right call, Mohit, and then Aryan as well, and then Ronak? Mohit, do you think this was the right call for Virat Kohli to step down after this series defeat to South Africa, or maybe he could have gone for another 1 or 2 years more, in your opinion, with the legacy
Pawan,
that he's
again,
made?
yes, this was totally out of the blue kind of a decision that we hear last evening, like in the middle of WTC T23 cycle, and just after losing a series to Africa. This was totally not acceptable as a cricket fan, to be really honest. But yes, I am out of words because this is not a transition phase in Indian cricket team, in my opinion. You can understand that when Dhoni stepped and left out, we had a very young team and which had just left a lot of legendary players, if you see, and we need that smooth transition phase, and Dhoni, we know, had been that kind of a guy which thinks of long future. But at this point of time, we have mature lads in the team, and you have just left franchisee and LOI's captaincy. And if this is not a personal reason, then I think he could have served for like more than another 3 years at
Mm.
least in red ball especially. And
Hmm. Yeah.
in my opinion, he could have continued at this point of time. But again, what all that have been happening around BCCI and all the administration level, nothing is impossible right now, and I am ready to accept anything, to be very honest, because this
Yeah.
really hurts as a cricket fan.
True. Yeah.
And as
Ronak,
fans,
yeah,
yeah,
you can
as
continue, Aryan. No.
fans, we don't have any clarity, we don't have any transparency from the BCCI, which we deserve. We have been
That's the point.
following this, and for over the years, if anyone has seen Sachin's documentary, a media manager telling him that he's not the captain anymore. This has been going on for the years, and the trend simply continues. And as Mohit said, Dhoni's time you can understand, that call, and we were not doing so well as well, and that was about like consecutive matches or 1 or 2 series. But this was, I think, something must have been bothering Kohli. Because he's not the kind of person who'll just say something out of the blue. He must have been planning it for maybe before the South Africa series. We don't know, and these are very hard decisions. And he might have discussed it with Rahul, with Ravi Shastri, even, or his family for that matter, with his wife Anushka Sharma, even, because these are very personal things. And if he served the country for so long, this must have been a very emotional decision for him. But he's taken it now, and we can only hope that this doesn't impact our chances for the WTC final, because again we are not in a great position. We say we are number 1, but the bigger picture is we are number 5 on
Yeah.
the real table, and that is the WTC table. So the
Yeah.
road ahead is tough, and I think Asian conditions, last next 8 test matches out of 9, we still have a very good chance to qualify. And I hope the next captain just calms things down, and Kohli will be there. We can't he's not retired from international cricket. He'll still be there, he'll be with his inputs, and that aggression will never go. You make him the captain, you make him bat at number 11, he'll just be the same. So that is the something we are looking forward to, and can't wait for the Sri Lankan test series. How does that go? 100 test for this guy in Bangalore, so that'll be an event to see. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And Ronak, very interesting also. Before his 100th test match, also to step down as captain, Do you see, because of the BCCI relationship, especially with obviously Saurav Ganguly and Jay Shah's relationship with Kohli, may, because these last 5 months for Kohli, it's been sort of a roller coaster for him, like all sorts of drama, him stepping down from 2020 captain, then from IPL, then he wanted to captain both Test and ODI. He wasn't happy when he was sacked as ODI captain. Now deciding to step down as Test captain. So all within a period of 5 months, and it was very unexpected also for him to especially step down in Test cricket, where he has the most success also, because he led Team India to a series victory in Australian soil for the first time ever. And also right now leading against England 2-1 and winning that Lord's Test match also against England. He's dominated in home. I think he's not even lost a single Test match as captain at home. So that's the dominance that Kohli has shown, and has shown the entire world, which is why legends are praising Virat Kohli's captaincy right now. So your thoughts on that, Ronak? Because I mean, teams now will fear India for sure. I mean, teams did fear India when Kohli was leading, with the temperament they had and with the class that they showed, the entire team, and how he led this team India also for the past 7 years.
Yeah, to be honest, at home we always have been India always have been a dominant side, irrespective of the fact. But Kohli has given a different brand of cricket, obviously, and India has not lost a Test series, though they have lost a few Test matches here and there, but haven't lost a Test series in 7 years of his tenure, and that is pretty commendable, because we say that in Australia, Gabba is the fort, and in South Africa, Centurion is the fort or fortress. But in India, whenever a team comes to India, anywhere they play, that is a fortress for India, because anywhere we have the best chances of winning. So, considering that fact, I believe Virat Kohli's temperament in Indian conditions has been dominant. Nothing going about that. Nothing, no going behind that scene. But
Yeah.
the main thing which will Virat Kohli will be remembered for is because the fact that because we lost to South Africa feels weird.
Mm.
We thought that we will blank them 3-0, and now we have lost them, and it feels weird. Earlier, if we lost under any captain, we would say that we won one test, but we won one test, that was good enough. But now we are saying that why we lost the test series is the transition that he have made. He has encapsulated in us that we will win every series, every match, anywhere we play. That feeling, that belief that he has given as a captain, as a fan of the game himself, like he is more a fan of the game than more the cricketer. He depicts the emotion of a fan on a field, and I believe that that is the biggest takeaway we can take from his captaincy. And for me, he will his one line that what he said in England, that make let's make this 60 overs the hell living out of England. That would
Yeah,
always be remain for me the highest point for me, that for his test his biggest quote that he ever said. So I
uh,
believe as a captain he has been the immaculate person, and replacing him would be tough. But we said the same for Dhoni as well, right? That replacing Dhoni would be tough. We have to
but
give chance and place to whoever comes next.
Mm.
We will have to give him 2-3 years to make his own brand, and then we would see that his brand is also what we are liking. Because in Indian cricket, we said Sachin band kare, that if Sachin stops playing, then we won't watch cricket. Then we said if
Mm.
Dhoni stops playing, we won't watch cricket. We are those kind of fans. Now, if
yeah,
Virat Kohli stops playing, we
Yeah.
will say that we won't watch cricket. So it will
but then
happen after every legend.
Mohit will come. Yeah,
Mm.
that's the thing.
Very
And just
Beautifully
what
put
he
up by
mentioned
Ronak.
when Dhoni was there. So yeah, Mohit, go on. Sorry, yeah, go on, go on.
No, no, I was just telling this is beautifully put up by Ronak.
Yeah, yeah, and when
Yeah.
India toured England, we won that Test match in Lords. That one win under Dhoni was like thousand, trillion, billion wins for us as fans, because we never thought like we'll go in England, beat them, do this, do that. We had bowlers like Praveen Kumar, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jaidev Unadkat, but this battery we never thought we'll have it since 2011, and now we have it. And the aggression that the team has, and the belief, just the fact we were considered as favorites going to South Africa was mind boggling. And
Mm.
like he said, we are going to wrap them 3-0, but we lost. And now it feels weird. Ki, yaar, why did we lose this series? We were supposed to win it. We won the first test, and we thought we'll wrap them up for 240. Now 240 in general terms in Test cricket is not a big target, but considering the fast bowlers we had, we were saying 240 they're not going to make it. And similarly in this game as well, we had, if we had got early wickets, we could have said it. So just the fact we are favorites in foreign conditions was unheard of, but he has made the transformation, he has made the transition, and he can be very proud of what he's done. And I think he'll have no regrets, except for that ICC trophy which we all have. But except for that, he'll have no regrets throughout his captaincy tenure in all formats, not just one day, sorry, test, but T20 and one day. So he's been the pioneer, and he'll be remembered for good things. I just hope he doesn't get remembered for all his controversies, but I hope he gets remembered for good things in Indian cricket. Yeah.
True. Yeah. Ronak, your thoughts on now? Kohli obviously could have been stepped down as captain due to, to focus on his batting form, obviously. And for 2 years, he hasn't scored a century also. Do you see him now stepping down as captain? Maybe he can maybe focus more on his batting and maybe break more records, in international cricket, because he was very dominating as captain also. I think he scored around 5,800 runs, which is phenomenal in test cricket. So do you think now stepping down as captain, there is less pressure for Kohli now? Maybe he can now focus on scoring runs for Team India in crucial situations. Do you see a new evolution now coming from Kohli after this, after him stepping down as captain, or do you think that he'll sort of be the same character as being captain?
See, if we are talking this after a batsman of his caliber hits 70 centuries in international cricket, then there must be some volume about it. If a batsman, we talk about Fab 4, Fab 5, they are not even merely close in his range. They are in 30 centuries, 40 centuries, but he is on 70, lying on 70.
Yeah.
So just considering that fact, it is just a phase that Virat Kohli is not in runs. He will come back stronger, and it is just about one format. He values the test format most. That is why we are discussing about it. Otherwise, in ODIs, if you see, he is an average of 47, 48, and in T20Is he has an average of 44, 45, and that speaks volume about his both the limited overs format. But in test
Yeah.
cricket, because he values it so much, we are discussing this. Otherwise, this should not have been a discussion point. Just because India's 3, 4, 5, all the middle orders are not performing, it is more being highlighted. Otherwise,
Hmm.
Kohli has been giving us crucial runs. Even in last series against England in India, when England visited, we saw that he made a crucial 50 and some
Yeah.
runs. So I believe it is not much of a worry. He will be back. He will be back as the because he has set himself on a higher bar. We are discussing this. Otherwise, we won't have been discussing for a normal player.
Yeah, true. So the final point before wrapping this up, we'll speak about the ICC Test Championship points table. Obviously, right now India are number 5 right now, playing a lot of matches right now. They played 9, if I'm not mistaken. They have a Sri Lanka series, Bangladesh series. 4 Test matches in 2022, and I can't remember. They have that one of Test match against England also. So very vital times ahead, because India, New Zealand. The finalists. The finally and the champions right now, fifth and sixth, lying on this table. And no matter what, India and New Zealand are number 1 and number 2 ranked teams right now. They're currently fifth and sixth in the table. Mohit, will start with you. India, can they bounce back and somehow with a new test captain bounce back and be in those top 2 teams? Do you see that happening with Team India right now, with the chances they have left? Because the Sri
Uh,
Lanka series will be very crucial, and I think Sri Lanka also might go high in confidence after being on the top, and especially they know they haven't won a test series against India. But with the test team settled right now, for Sri Lanka, India have to somehow bounce back in the Sri Lanka test series somehow.
Pawan, of course, yes, there's no doubt about that, because you can see a lot of shuffles in the points table at this point of time for sure. Teams have not played test cricket, a number of test cricket till now, and there are a lot of tests. I think India and England are the only ones who have played 8 or 9 tests. Apart from that, teams have played only 3 or 4 tests. So yes, a lot of shuffling is still remaining. I still feel that India have a solid chance of getting at top 2. But again, this loss against South Africa, that draw against New Zealand, and these penalty overs will cost them a lot, and this can be a problem of trouble at the later stage in the points table. But yes, again, we have three series, I guess, in Indian soil in upcoming months. And as Ronak said, India is India's fortress, and this will be very difficult to beat any team to India in India. And I still feel that India can be in top two. And starting from South Sri Lanka series, I guess at this point where Kohli have left, this is the best point. If he was to left, this is the best point to leave. And because India in India can is brutal, we know, and doesn't need a captain, to be honest. They can play collaboratively. Apart from this, I don't see a major problem. There will be a smooth transition because we are playing in India, and there won't be much problems going ahead. But yes, 4 5 teams are there in the chart to be at top 5 position, and a good competition will be seen ahead.
Yeah. Ronak, your thoughts also on India's position right now and whether they can reach the finals right now with the three upcoming home series and that one off test against England upcoming. Do you see there's still a realistic chance for India to somehow bounce back after Kohli has left his captaincy?
Yeah, I think India will qualify for sure, I believe, because most of the things that India plays now is in Asian conditions, and India will back themselves for that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the only thing which will hamper India is, and that can be the most negative thing, is the penalty overs 3 points. Last time we saw Australia missing out on because of one penalty overs point, and that can be a
Yeah.
crucial deciding factor. If India does not qualify, then it will haunt them for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Aryan,
Yeah.
your thoughts also on the current situation of India in the points table, champion ICC Test
if
champion.
if if it was for points, we are already in the final. We have 53 points, but it's not for points, it's percentage. So
Yeah,
yes, these things
point.
will happen. Three penalty overs, and I think the weightage of fast bowlers, the time it takes, and I think we all have heard that one over takes around 3 4 whatever time it is, and to complete for a fast bowler. In foreign conditions, we struggle regarding this. In Indian conditions, Asian conditions, you have spinners bowling, quickly, and then the over rate doesn't come in. So that will be an advantage. Thank God that we are playing in Asian conditions, and that won't be a factor. But again, every time we lose something or we draw something, my mind will always get stuck on that New Zealand draw, because I think that is the deciding factor. Because they drew this game and we should have won it, and maybe we could have been above 50 percentage, because you never know. Now South Africa is above us, so if South Africa keeps performing well from the other end, our chances will get depleted unless and until we don't. Probably we draw a game, that's an advantage to them. You don't know Pakistan, they are hosting home series, so they are obviously gonna grab points. And there's a good competition, and Bangladesh winning was the highlight. Forget India, Bangladesh beating New Zealand was the highlight of the points table. They're on the points table, so yeah. But,
Yeah, Ashutosh
but
says Australia versus Pakistan final. If not, then India versus Australia.
But again,
Yeah,
Australia are going three places: India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. I think that is going to be a lot of pressure on Australia to
yeah,
get. And these are the series: Sri Lanka can pick points, India can pick points, Pakistan can pick
Even
points. So
Bangladesh
this,
can pick points against Australia.
yeah, that's how bad they are, playing spin in Asian conditions, and that
true.
is what that will test them. And right now, they don't have as many good players of spin, I would say. In
Yeah,
Smith is there, Khawaja is
yeah.
back, but we saw what is happening to him opening in the pink ball test. So
Hmm.
we have good chances, and I believe that we are gonna win at least 7 out of 8 test matches we are gonna play in Asian conditions. Just giving one exemption to a draw. So India, fingers crossed, they should qualify. If they don't, the media is gonna burn them. We are not gonna do anything. If they don't qualify, the media will take care of itself. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Hopefully they qualify.
So guys, we'll end it right here. Thank you so much, Ronak, Mohit, and Aryan for coming. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
from the Third Man Cricket Show from for
Thank you.
coming to accepting the invite. It's gone over 1.5 hours, but thank you for remaining, and special mention to Omkar as well, who had to unfortunately leave early. But yeah, thank you so much, Ronak and Mohit, for coming. And please do subscribe to the Third Man Cricket Show, because they do exclusive content on Indian cricket every day, and I do watch their content when they go live every time. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys can join in the future as well. Hopefully, we'll have more collaborations in the future. So thank you so much, Ronak and Mohit and Omkar, for joining. Yeah.
Thank you, Pawan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and
Bye.
please do check out the Crickepedia that Mohit does on Instagram, and please do follow the Third Man Cricket Show on Instagram and the Crickepedia as well on Instagram. And thank you, Aryan and Garvit, for joining as well. And do subscribe to their channels as well. So we'll wrap things up, guys. Please do subscribe to Sports Breakdown as well, and please click the notification bell on, guys. And we'll see you in the next video as well. Sorry for taking a long time, but please do watch the video. It will be uploaded, and please do like the video and share the video, and yeah, comment on the video, guys, because it was a long video, and I put effort to do this presentation. So please do like this video, and thank you, guys, and see you in the next video.